Okay, let's jump right into this explainer. Welcome, everyone. Today we're pulling a crucial concept straight from day 22 of the FinFlow Media 100-Day Wealth Challenge. We're going to be building your ultimate financial safety net by walking through the emergency fund blueprint. It is absolutely the foundation for anyone looking to secure their financial future, and we are going to break down exactly how much you really need to get there. First, I want you to consider this incredibly stark reality. Most people are just one single unexpected emergency away from financial disaster. It's a heavy thought, right? But it hits the nail on the head. It establishes exactly why we need this blueprint today because it sets the very real, very high stakes of everyday finances that so many folks are navigating right now.
And look, these emergencies, they aren't rare, once-in-a-lifetime events. We're not talking about highly improbable scenarios here. We're talking about everyday risks that can just strike without any warning whatsoever. You know, that dreaded check engine light turning on during your morning commute, an unexpected medical bill after a routine checkup, or the absolute worst shock, a sudden job loss that just completely halts your income overnight.
Now, the true danger isn't even just the stress of the emergency itself. It's the financial fallout that immediately follows. If you don't have cash set aside for these exact moments, well, you're forced straight into high-interest credit card debt. Suddenly, you're trapped in this vicious cycle where you're paying off the initial cost of the emergency, plus massive amounts of interest for months or even years. It literally turns a temporary problem into a long-term financial anchor. So let's figure this out. Section 1. Calculating your magic number. The standard financial rule for building this safety net is universally recognized, and it's super clear. You need to save 3 to 6 months worth of basic living expenses. That 3 to 6 month window, that's your core timeline goal. It's perfectly designed to give you enough breathing room to navigate and recover from a major shock, like that job loss we talked about, without panicking and without borrowing a single dime. But hold on, because this is where so many people get totally overwhelmed. There's this massive misconception that to be safe, you need to save 3 to 6 months of your full income. Actually, scratch that. It's entirely wrong. You only need to save your essential living expenses. Just making that one fundamental shift in your thinking instantly demystifies the whole process and makes the goal so much more achievable. So, what exactly falls under essential living expenses? We're talking strictly about your non-negotiable survival costs. Your rent or your mortgage, the utilities you need to keep the lights and heat on, basic groceries, your essential insurance policies, and of course the minimum payments on any existing debt to keep you in good standing. Things like streaming subscriptions, dining out, weekend entertainment, you gotta cut those from this math. Let's walk through a concrete math example to make this feel super actionable for you right now. Step 1. You sit down and add up all those essential monthly expenses we just laid out. Let's say, for this example, they total exactly $3,000 a month. Step 2, you simply multiply that number by your target timeline. In this case, we're aiming for a solid 3-month minimum baseline. Boom. And that brings us right to your magic number, $9,000. If your absolute essential survival costs are $3,000 a month, a solid 3-month emergency fund is exactly $9,000. Anchoring this whole concept with a real, definitive number shows you exactly what the finish line looks like for this vital step of your wealth journey. Okay, you've got your number. Now, Section 2, where to store your cash. Because you can't just put this newly calculated safety net just anywhere, right? There are 2 mandatory ground rules for this specific account. First, it must be extremely safe. This is absolutely not the money you use to play the stock market or buy risky assets. Second, it needs to be highly accessible. If your transmission blows on a Tuesday morning, you need to be able to reach that cash today, not in 5 business days. Now, you might be thinking it's easiest to just leave this cash in your daily checking account so it's ready at a moment's notice. But honestly, that carries a massive accidental spending risk. It is way too easy to just slowly swipe your debit card and drain your safety net on everyday conveniences. Instead, a high-yield savings account keeps the money perfectly liquid, totally separated from your daily spending temptation, and here's the best part, it actually earns you interest. Yeah, a high-yield savings account is the undisputed winner here. As defined by the source material, it's the absolute best spot because it brilliantly allows the money to work for you passively. It sits perfectly safe, it's highly accessible, and it generates passive interest month after month, just waiting there for the day you actually need to call upon it. Which brings us to our final takeaway, Section 3, the foundation for investing. Think about it. When you know for a fact you have a dedicated shield specifically set aside to cover life's worst unexpected surprises, you won't ever have to panic sell your long-term investments just because a random medical bill pops up. This safety net gives you incredible peace of mind. So I want you to ask yourself, is your current bank account a genuine launchpad for your future wealth, or is it literally just a waiting room for your next emergency? Go calculate your magic number today. Thanks so much for joining this explainer, and we'll see you next time.